Hi everyone, welcome to the One Code Camp channel. Today, we'll dive into the world of MongoDB, which is a powerful NoSQL or NoSQL database. So we will explore what MongoDB is all about and how it differs from the other traditional SQL or SQL databases. So let's start our MongoDB journey by walking you through the process of installing it on your computers. So let's get started.
Hey guys, Abby. Welcome back to One Code Camp channel. Today we are going to talk about MongoDB. Let's go! Before we dive into anything else, let's first answer the question, what is database? Database is an organized collection of information or data. It is something that we use to store data in. You take any data, group them together in a proper structured way. We will be discussing MongoDB, which is a NoSQL database. But before learning NoSQL, let us familiarize ourselves with SQL first. And one such SQL database is MySQL. SQL, or Structured Query Language, is a type of database. If you haven't heard of SQL databases yet, you can search our channel and we'll have a dedicated series of videos for that. But I'm going to explain it to you briefly right here. SQL is made up of tables with rows and columns, where each table is used to store a specific data type, and each table is a record. Each of the columns is a property on that particular record, like ID, name, and record label. Also, we can have different data types, which will be a different data table that can be related to each other. So here, we have the pop bands. We can have a different data table for band songs, and these are two different types of data, but they could be related to each other. For example, one band might have many songs. So there, we will have a one-to-many relationship between those two tables. So again, what type of database is MongoDB? MongoDB is a NoSQL database. MongoDB is a free, open-source, cross-platform, document-oriented database program. So let's break that down a little. Free and open source, meaning anybody can download it and use it without buying a license. It is cross-platform because you can run it on any machine like Windows, Linux, or Mac. It is a document-oriented database program, which is very different from SQL database because instead of tables, columns, and rows, MongoDB uses collections and documents. So in a NoSQL database, each collection would store a specific type of data record. It is a key value database, which does not have a relational data, which means that there are no tables, columns, and rows. It is a document that is stored as something very much alike with JSON objects, which is a key value pair. You can have a simple JSON structure like this with 2 fields, or you can have 100 fields. It is totally up to you. That is how flexible MongoDB documents are. So, what are the benefits of using NoSQL over using SQL, which uses tables, rows, and columns? First, since it is very much alike with JSON or JavaScript objects, it is easier to work with it if you are familiar with JavaScript. It also allows us to store nested documents within a document. So what do you mean by that? For example, we have a document here in the albums collection, which has the title and the duration property. Then we can add a members property, which also has a document in itself, containing the first name, the last name property, and the position property. This could be an alternative instead of using 2 different tables in a SQL database to store those 2 data types separately. However, You could also use two separate collections for those data types in MongoDB as well. But we get to have this option of nested documents, which gives us more flexibility and sometimes a better option. Additionally, querying a NoSQL database could also be easier, and MongoDB makes it easier to use simple methods to write and read data to and from the database. It also has a really good high-speed performance, which makes it quick to make and handle those queries. Okay, so before we get too much into theory, let's get started and see MongoDB in action. But first, we're gonna have to install that in our machine. So let's get started. There are three ways we can use MongoDB. First is through the community server. It's a free one, an open source database where we can download it and start using it in our local machine. This is the first approach, and almost all developers will take to work locally. Next is the Visual Studio extension. We also have this MongoDB extension in Visual Studio Code. Finally, the MongoDB Atlas, which is cloud-hosted, where you can sign up and log in, work with the database, and log out, so there will be no need for any installation. For now, let us do and use the first option, which is the community server. First, let us go to mongodb.com, over on the Resources tab, and click Documentation. Then let's choose and click MongoDB Database Manual, then install MongoDB. We will be able to see here the different platforms that we can install it on. So there's Linux, Mac, Windows, and Docker. First, let's explore how to install it on Mac. Let's click this link beside Mac OS. And it will show us this page, a guide on how to install MongoDB on Mac. So before you can install MongoDB, you should have these prerequisites. First is the Xcode that you should run on your Mac OS terminal. Then you should also have Homebrew installed on your computer. If you have Xcode and Homebrew installed, you can skip this step. Otherwise, let's check this link to view the installation guide. Once you're here, we can copy this command by clicking this copy icon, then paste it in your terminal. If you are not sure if Homebrew is installed or not yet installed, you can open your terminal. In my case, I will show you using a notepad since I'm not using Mac right now. But on your Mac OS terminal, just type in the command brew -- version, then hit enter. If Homebrew is installed, it will show you the version of it. If it is not installed, it will show you that brew command is not found. After you have successfully installed Homebrew on your machine, let's go back to the page in MongoDB, and we will see the steps on how to install it. First, we need to tap Homebrew with MongoDB server. Tapping is like establishing a connection. To do that, let's copy this command, paste it on your terminal, and hit enter. It will then show you the tapping process is 100%. You can also update it by copying and pasting this command through update. And now, to actually install MongoDB, let's copy again a command from the MongoDB website, which is this one, paste it on your terminal, and hit enter. If you have M1 Mac and it gives you an error while installing brew commands, add arch-arm64 prefix before brew. Then, we can run MongoDB as a Mac OS service. So let's copy this command, paste it again on your terminal, and hit enter. After that, you can now connect with the server. If in case you are having any trouble, you can also go to this link, which is github.com/mongodb/homebrew-brew. And this is a beginner-friendly guide on how to install MongoDB on Mac. Now, let's proceed with the installation in Windows. Let's go back to mongodb.com, resources, and documentation. We can choose MongoDB database manual again, then install MongoDB. Choose the installation link for Windows. Let's look for the download link, scroll down, and click MongoDB Download Center. Scroll down and select Package. It should automatically choose which platform you're using, so I'll leave mine at this, Windows, and then Download. Once you have downloaded it, just double-click the install file and just go through the installation wizard. Accept the terms. We'll choose Complete. If you choose Custom, the next prompt will ask you to choose the features that you want. So let's select Complete. Then let's leave this checked. Install MongoDB as a service. Then run service as network service user. Then I'll also leave these fields as is. But if you want a different name and a different directory, you can change it. So let's go ahead and select Next. And we have one more option. Install MongoDB Compass. This is a GUI, or a graphical user interface, and here is where we are going to interact with the database, so make sure that this is checked, then click on Next and Install. Wait for that and then click Finish. After that, MongoDB Compass will auto-start for us. We will be using this later on, so let's minimize this for now. Next is we are going to install another tool called MongoDB Shell. MongoDB Shell allows us to interact with MongoDB from a terminal. So that's what we are going to download, since the MongoDB that we have just installed doesn't include the MongoDB Shell. So back in the MongoDB website, let's head over to Tools, then choose MongoDB Shell and download. It will give us this zip file. Let's open that and look for the executable mongosh file. And double-click that. It should be fast to be installed, and that will automatically open for us. So let's verify the installation by typing in the command mongo sh and then enter. If that's installed correctly, it will show us these information like the version of MongoDB and MongoDB Shell. And we are going to get into an interactive Mongo shell where we can start to write Mongo commands. If you're not getting something like this, then you have not installed it correctly. So you can just go through the process and try again. Here, we will be using a combination of the shell to write commands and interact with MongoDB, and also the GUI, or graphical user interface, that we have also installed, the MongoDB Compass. And here we are going to see what's going on. We'll be using both of these tools. And now, we can type in some commands in the shell, like show DBs. And it will give us the list of all the databases that I currently have. In the next videos, we'll explore more on how MongoDB works and other Mongo commands. See you in the next videos.